Anything said in this video is not by a medical doctor or a medical professional. Information in this video should not be seen as medical treatment, but should be seen as advice, shared experiences, and perspectives from experienced diabetics or others within the video and organization. If you have any questions regarding medical treatment, please contact a doctor or medical professional. If you have an emergency, please contact 911. Thank you. What's up, everybody? Ricardo Jr. here. Today we got another interview with Mckee. She is a type 1 diabetic, pro track cyclist. She competes on Team Nova Nordisk. And thank you so much, Mckena, for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, so today's topic, we're going to be talking about diabetes and nutrition. Mckena, I'm pretty sure, it's no secret that being a diabetic and having, good diet, having good nutrition is very important if we want to, maintain good blood sugars, right? And, a lot of diabetics, might have questions on, about their nutrition, whether like how much they should be eating, what foods should they be eating, what food should they be eating that they're missing out on. And a lot of them want answers as well. Maybe like if their diet is maybe not good enough, or, how they can improve their diet, their nutrition, so they can maintain those good blood sugars. And you being an athlete, while being diabetic at the same time, I'm sure your nutrition, your diet is, has to be really good, not only just to perform, but to be able to control your blood sugars while being able to perform and being an athlete. So I'm sure your emphasis on nutrition and good diet is up there, and you really have to make sure that you have that good nutrition. I'm sure you do have that. So that's a big reason why I wanted to interview specifically. With that being said, let's go to the question. So before you have a big race, what do you have for a meal?
Usually before, I have oatmeal with fruit, and then something like, sometimes it's yogurt, sometimes it's something else, something that won't like hurt my stomach. Like I'm not going to go into a race feeling like I'm going to throw up. So something that's going to really hold me good in my blood sugars, and like balancing that out with protein is good. So
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, great. Also, after you have a race, what are you having for a meal?
yeah, so usually after a race, I'm like hurting, so I have to check my blood sugars. So if my blood sugars are off, I'll fix it. But if I'm good to go and I feel good and I'm hungry, then I'll usually have like a sandwich with, protein in it, like peanut butter or ham and cheese. And then I also have like, sometimes it'll be a burrito, but it also depends on like what's around that area. So like whatever food's available, and like whatever's like there at the venue. So it kind of varies, but this food in general after race is always important.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it definitely is important. Also, what foods and drinks are considered like a big no for a diabetic? Like what you
Yeah.
shouldn't have?
I was like, So when I was diagnosed, I was told like there was a bunch of foods, and then when I like you cannot have, and then when I went to camp, they were like, there's really no foods a type 1 diabetic cannot have, just as long as you do it in moderations and you do it with like the right intentions. So like you're not gonna just go out and eat a cake and cover, I don't know, 100 carbs for that and be thinking that you're gonna be okay. You're gonna obviously, do it in moderation.
That was a great answer. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. What
Yeah.
foods and meals? What are foods and meals that you recommend for diabetics to control their blood sugars that maybe they aren't so much aware about?
So my recommendation, my mom's a nurse, and she's always taught me like fruits, vegetables, proteins, grains, all the stuff, fiber, carbohydrates, obviously. That's all good. You don't have to have everything in one meal, but it's good to have at least a few of those just so it can hold your blood sugar really well throughout the day.
That's good advice. Thank you. Also, how many meals per day do you think is best suit for a diabetic? Is there diabetics that feel like maybe
Yeah.
they eat too much or too little?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, I eat, 3 times a day, obviously, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But then also in between races and stuff, I'll eat. So it's probably between like 6 to 8 times per day. So it just depends on like how active you are, and how your blood sugars are doing, depending on what you're going to eat. and how much you're going to eat.
Okay. Um, Also, are there any specific diets you feel that are best for a diabetic? Like whether that's like more protein, more whatever, more
Yeah.
greens. What specific ones?
I mean, I feel like it's basically up to what you find works for you because everyone's different, even if they're not a diabetic. So it's just like finding what is good in moderations of food, like vegetables, fruit. You always have to have fruit. And it's always, I find hard to like put vegetables into something. So it's always good to have at least 2 vegetables per dinners. So, or at least that's what I find works for me. But everyone's different.
Yeah. Do you find like for specific meals, do you tend to like for your diet, do you tend to be more protein based or more carb based?
Yeah.
Which one do you
I
feel?
mean, I'm a sprinter, so we're burning a lot off, and so I find eating proteins and fruits and vegetables, putting it all together really works for me, especially with fiber. So
Nice. Yeah. Protein, that's
yeah,
important for a
yeah.
diabetic. What portion sizes slash amount of carbs do you think are ideal in a single meal for a diabetic to maintain a good blood sugar?
So for me, I find that it depends on like person to person's everyone's different. But if you're active during the day, I find I eat a lot more because you're burning a lot more carbs. But if you're like on my rest days, I don't eat as much carbs. So it just kind of depends on if you're active or inactive that day.
Okay. Also, do you have any encouraging words or advice for diabetics that may have difficulty finding that right diet or like nutrition for them?
hmm Yeah, so for me, it's like glucose is your body's only real source of natural energy. So it's important to like watch what you're eating and how much of it you're eating and covering when you need to be covering and always eating smart. So like really thinking about what you're putting in your diet. And also if you take care of your body will take care of you. So that's
That's
what I
great
really
advice.
think
Yeah,
works.
that's actually really good advice. Thank you for that. Lastly, do you ever adjust your meal plan slash diet based off how your sugars are throughout a day?
Yeah, so I actually found this really early on when I was just like introduced to sports because I found that it was always hard if my blood sugars were high. So like if I was really, really hungry after a ride, I just, if you're high, you obviously got to take more insulin. And then if you're low, you can just like skip that bolus and then check 15 minutes afterwards or whatever, however long that takes to go into your body. So that for me, it's just making sure my blood sugar doesn't spike and it doesn't drop. So it's finding that good moderation.
Yeah, that's important. Find that good moderation. Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up all the nutrition questions. Now, I do end my interviews with a fun question. I end all my interviews like this. So my fun question to you is, if you could do any other sport than cycling, what would it be and why?
Oh, for sure, bobsledding looks so fun. Just because, like, I mean, they push a sled for like 50 meters and then they jump in it, and then, like, they basically don't really have to work the rest of the way except for driving that thing down. And it's like, I looked it up, and it's actually, you're working the same muscles that you are in cycling. So it would be a great transfer because I'm already basically training for it. So, you never know.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Mckenna, for coming on.
Thank you, Ricky,
Your yeah,
and
absolutely.
everyone.
Yeah, your advice, your suggestions for everyone that are going to help, other diabetics, maybe look in the mirror and say, hey, I got to change my diet this way. I got to take this food out of my diet. And overall, I think it will help diabetics maintain better blood sugars because they're more informed about how it is to have a good nutrition, good diet coming from you. So, yeah, thank you so much. To my audience, I will be attaching Mckenna's social media on her post. So if you have any questions for her, you can always contact her through that. Also, like I always say, please hit that donate tab and donate. We need to keep the donations coming, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's going to wrap everything up. Tune into the next video. Mckenna, thank you so much again. And
Yeah, thank you, Ricky.
yeah,
We're stronger
absolutely.
together. Don't forget it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. That's 100% fact. So thank you so much. And tune into the next video, guys. Thank you so much.